So call to order. We'll call the meeting to order at 5:36 p.m. on Wednesday, April 27th. Roll call. We have Sandy, Trang, Colleen, and Cope, the lovely John Kerr assisting us. And out for now is Kanu, Taimi, and Liz. Liz mentioned that she might be here. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
A motion to adopt the agenda.
So formal.
Second.
All those in favor? Yay. Awesome. So item 2, we have approval of minutes, which are included in the agenda packet. Thank you, Ann, for putting those together. The minutes, I appreciate that. I guess the proper way to do this is I motion for the approval of the minutes from Wednesday, March 16th. Well, I mean, if there's no objections, I guess we can do it by acclamation, right? Does anyone have any objections to the minutes?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so continuing business again. Our goal is the website, and I'm trying to get us to a point where it's like we can divvy up tasks and fulfill those over the next couple months. So I'd like to create a basic milestone this evening, set of milestones. I'm sure, Sandy, you're probably really good at that. And we're back up against finance again. I moved our meeting and then they moved there. So, but if we can get these set tonight, that would be awesome. And then I think if we can meet again in like maybe 2 weeks, that would be cool. And John, you'd have to check that. So I'm trying to figure out how the best way to do this. So far what I have done is, a basic flow chart of the site. I started working on wireframes, and my goal, and then I can have this done by 2 weeks, would be to have a standard set of wireframes for the site to show what each of the main pages will look like in basic form, right? And that includes like, what is a board page or a board news item going to look like that has an attached agenda? What is, an amenity page? What is a playground page going to look like? What's the news articles going to look like? So on and so forth. So basically, the main things that you're going to see on the site, I'm going to create that and collaborate with you guys on the look of that. And from there, I was going to actually design like 2 pages just to kind of get a feel of what the style could be. And then I started putting together a style guide, which will have different typefaces and how they will work with each other, like, for headlines and for body copy and so forth. If you ever use MailChimp, you'll see all that kind of stuff in there too. And then we can, I'm totally not a dictator with this type of stuff. Obviously, I like doing design work and stuff, but I'm very easy to work with. So, I want to make sure that everyone has input on that process. Aside from that, that's my own personal goal for the next couple of weeks. Aside from that, I know Ann and Liz expressed interest in doing some copywriting, and it would be great. I mean, I can help with this, is setting up a document that shows, for the about page, here are the copy blocks that we're going to want. For, the amenities pages or like a parks page, it would be great to have some nice copy written about, each of the parks, where it's located. And I'm sure there, a lot of that's already out there, but if we can fine tune it so it has like a cohesive voice across the site, that would be great. Colleen, I know you were doing the photo submission thing. I'd like to talk about that some more and see what we can really squeeze out of that. And then, at Trang, I know you mentioned you wanted to help with the aesthetics and stuff like that. So I guess I'm asking you guys what you feel that, you can input into this in the next couple of weeks that can at least get us a little bit of momentum going. Sandy?
So I'd like to volunteer to do the testing so that these use cases that I keep talking about, as a
Right.
Sudden Valley homeowner, I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the testing would just be to make sure that all of those functionalities were available. So saying that an amenities page would have these 5 functions. You know, it would be at least the forms, a header, that you could go to another page. You haven't spoken about navigation, because I think that's also key to talk about, so that when you go from here to here, sometimes it's a button, sometimes it's here or here, and sometimes it's a link instead of a button. Just getting that consistency. Is that part of your style sheet?
Yeah, that's what I like to do, is actually create, what each type of button would look like. Like, here's what your standard button's going to look like. Here's what a rollover or hover state's going to be. This is the color palette. And, I think the whole functionality and the navigation of how it flows, I think that can help happen in the wireframes. And that's where it's going to be awesome to look at those and see like where that takes us. Like to me, it's like, if you have a news item on the homepage, you click on the news item, you go to that news item page, right? And it would be great if we had either other latest news below or similar articles or something like that. And, things like that. And we can discuss all of those types of functions. And, when we go over the wireframes, and, that'll probably be a little bit more easy to like visualize at that point, And the other things that I wanted to ask you about, Sandy, sorry if I get like off track, I'm totally sorry. But the one thing I want to ask you about, Sandy, is that have you seen any decent, I pulled a couple, but any decent sites that have like, I guess a city municipality type sites, or any kind of big business that has a page for their ongoing capital projects and things like that?
I have not. I
Okay.
am pigeonholed in healthcare. So I don't really have that kind of knowledge.
No, that's fine. Actually, you could probably find some related stuff in healthcare, but one thing that AJ mentioned to me was having a capital projects page that we can keep updated, so that people know where this project is and what all is going on. And then I know Bellingham's site does it pretty well, and then we can style it how we want. And maybe it'll be like a full list, nicely stylized, and then you click on one of those, go to the project details, and then you can have, I wouldn't put I'm not sure the legalities of that. I definitely wouldn't put the bids if we didn't have to, because I don't know, maybe you can, I'm not sure how it works with other companies and stuff. But if we can have the agendas that go with that project, anything that's related to that, so it's all in one place and it's easy for people to get to. That's the ultimate goal for me, is just making the usability simple. Sandy?
Are you thinking that each department, like Parks and Rec, and the projects they have underneath them, and
We can put some tags on those, so that you can filter it by department, or filter it by date, or filter it by type, or something like that. And that's what I want to do, like on the news page and the events page and stuff like that too, is to have some filters so people can access those pretty easily.
and the staff would have some responsibilities for that, or would
Yeah.
it be the communications team that would create that content?
No, we would not be creating that content. We would be creating the means of the content, how it works, and how we envision it. That would be staff's job to update that, just as anything else. And another part of this site goal is to make it a lot easier for staff. For John could teach a new admin person, hey, here's how to do a news item, click this, add this, upload this PDF file. All those things go out to, and I mean, it kind of does now, but you know, it needs a lot of fine tuning. So especially like with the board agendas, that's the big thing. You know, it's like you can post that there's a board meeting, but you got to go somewhere else and post the agenda. But if we have this where it parses out to different areas, like you go up, make a news item, there's a board meeting, that gets fulfilled on another page along, you know, and the PDF for the agenda is right there in the news item, and it's all simple. Does that make sense? Okay. John, do you want to chime in?
Well, a quick thought here. So we are bringing in an outsider, a professional, to handle the eventual development of the site itself, correct?
Right.
Okay.
You're not doing that.
What's that? Well, no,
you're not doing that.
I can do some stuff. I don't know about that far. I just want to make sure, you know, if we are bringing somebody else in from outside, we probably need to think about bringing them in on these conversations. You know, some of these, you know, I think it's great that we're getting into some of these design thoughts. That's very important. But I'm a little concerned that we're going to start developing an idea here, and maybe when we get a designer, you know, how that conversation is going to go. They may have their own questions for us, and maybe things that we hadn't thought of that we should have been thinking earlier in the process. I don't know. That's just kind of something that kind of crossed my mind here. It's like, shouldn't, you know, these thoughts, these discussions ultimately have the person who's going to be doing this for us involved?
Right. Well, at this point, and Colleen, I'll get right to you. At this point, it's like we're just kind of creating like our wish list, right? So it's very infantile, and to bring someone in at this point, you know, we're going to have to get 3 bids on this and make sure we're doing our due diligence that way. And which I'm not sure if that'll come to you or who will take care of that, but we'll have it through our, you know, through looking at the wireframes in a couple weeks and all that, we'll have a good idea. And I think Sandy will be really great with document this of our wish lists. And, you know, I'm not a developer. I'm using a little bit of my, you know, what I know from my job. And that's kind of like we do the same thing. It's like, here's what we want, you know, what can we afford and what can we do? Based on the budget that we have for this site, it's not going to take as much as the budget that's available. And you know, I don't see any of it being really difficult for someone who develops WordPress correctly and stuff like that. So, but I think that's a very good thought. I just navigating, like finding the right person at this phase for that would be kind of tough.
Gotcha.
Colleen?
I was just going to say, I think that, can you hear me through these headphones? Okay. I think that so that there's not like a waste of time or having to like go back and forth. So I think it's always, you know, when developing a website, which, you know, I've had entities develop my own in my prior business, but I think my mom is trying to like get that what she's trying to get is actually like something we can, so as we're having these ideas, there's something that she can communicate directly with whoever the developer is. So that when we get these ideas, there's like structure to it. So we're not just like, oh, that'd be cool, you know, that this is from the beginning, every bit of energy that any one of us is putting out there into brainstorming or whatever is actually going into a document, an important place, and it's being put in a certain way that the language of it is then going to be very easy to talk to a developer. Rather than like, hey, because if we don't know what the content of the page is, I mean, general design, we're going to be willing to like, you know, lean in a little on the structure side, as we start to, well, this is what we need, this is what we want. And that form, I know she and I had gone over, I did a whole series of, as a resident, I would like to, as a resident, and using my own voice, but also using the voice of like the bazillion comments on social media of what people want from the website. Anyway, I'm just, so that there's not a lot of peddling, not a waste of expenditure of energy. If there's some way that we can, push all of these ideas as we wait for the developer to come into this structure, I think it will just be a better use of our energy. That's just my opinion.
Right. So, I mean, basically what I'm looking for right now is things that we can all do at this time in the next couple of weeks. And that includes, figuring out the photo thing, which I think is a great idea. Part of me wants to actually just create a form on the site if John can do that, which I think he can, to have an upload possibly. And then from that, maybe we can have like a radio button that says sign up for the newsletter. And, I give you permission to use this on Instagram as well, or something like that. I would like to, I mean, this is just my opinion. Again, I'd avoid like contest and make it more about like a community driven type of like, it's not like we're looking for designers or photographers to just give us free work. I mean, we're all kind of in it together to do this community site. So if anyone wants to take part in that, I think that would be great. I just don't want it to be very hard on us to like go judging photos or anything like that. But if we can, pick some good stuff and then also create a gallery on the site of the submissions that we get, I think would be awesome. But I mean, that's just my thought. Trang?
So I kind of am leaning toward, how we do that pet of the month situation. We also do Sun Valley photo of the month, and then include whatever they submitted to us, either through the e-blast or something like that, so they could be like, this is what we love about Sun Valley, or capture Sun Valley or something like that, a photo of Sun Valley. So you can do that, and then you can have those photos rotate. So it's not really a contest, so to speak, but more like, what it is that you love and through a photo. And then you can just kind of like post that on an e-blast, or like, this is the highlight. Because I thought you used to do that, didn't you, Josh? There was like, back in the e-blast, there was like a photo, an art, or something that you would put on an e-blast.
I don't know. I mean, I would just
remember.
put
I thought
anything
there
that
was.
would go with, the news item. So
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to do that, then you get the selection of photos, and then you say you can put it in an album. But at the same time, it's not a contest, but it's from the community, whatever they want to share with their neighbors, or so to speak. Like, this is what I love about it. Because there's some really, amateur photographers out there that takes these amazing wildlife pictures that I'm like, wow, how did you do that? And I think a lot of them just want to share, like, this is what I see on my window, or, this is why I love living in Sun Valley. And then we can just collect those and just kind of like put that in the album, winter, summer, different seasons of Sun Valley.
well, I mean, if we had the Instagram, we can actually have an Instagram gallery right on the, it's filtering through. Colleen?
I was just going to say, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, I think it's also, and I think I want to underscore like the importance of having some kind of positive manner of engagement with the community and kind of changing the narrative. And so I think that like Trang saying like, what do I love about Sun Valley? Like, this could be an ongoing, like you're saying, like you could just, people could be submitting regularly. We could have a feature thing. So I just don't want to I want to emphasize the importance of this, like on a variety of levels, like engaging the community and, putting out there that this is about like sharing what you love and the beauty of our community. And again, like kind of trying to shift the narrative of like, all the complaining and all the difficulties and all the things everyone's experiencing, because that is so much the emotion that is coming across, especially on social media. So I think that I just want to say, like, I think it's a really important thing. It doesn't have to be a contest, but I think that starting it now and kind of, again, not like, I think Josh had said, like, we don't want to give, like, we don't know how long this is going to take, but that people would be excited to know that, like, we're working on it. We have budget for it. It's going to happen, you know, and I think that kind of gives this, because there's, again, the perception of like, well, what is my board doing? What is what are they doing for me? What's going to improve? And so this is kind of like, there's hope, like things are going to change and things are going to get better and that we're going to communicate better. It's going to be easier for you to access things. But the photo part, I think, kind of brings people in a different way than just kind of like an announcement. So,
Do you like taking pictures, Colleen?
I have a BFA in photography. Just saying, I don't use it though.
Would you be willing to maybe go around and get some really good pictures of our playgrounds and parks?
Yeah, I could do
Okay.
that. And I was just looking at what you had asked about the projects page. I sent a link just privately to my mom, but it was in New York City, how New York City does it, and how you can check in on projects on their page. But all the images, like it's just full of images of the project. So, you know, whatever those capital projects are, like we need to make sure like we're going out and getting like pictures.
Oh, well, that's a good idea, because yeah, we could put like a gallery with those if you know, in the included documents or whatever that would go with those projects. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then Sandy, so usually we'll have, when development's happening, they'll send us you know, like some QA links. And then, you know, that's when we can really like hone in on making sure it's all right. But yeah, I'm anxious to go through like the wireframes, and because I mean, seriously, like once I have those finished up, we can change them up on the fly. We can do it right here in the meeting and, you know, tailor them to how we like. They're just going to be pretty basic black and white documents with boxes and copy blocks and stuff like that. But we can determine the functionality and write notes in that. And then this file is a file that I'll actually send to the developer, and then I'll have all the, you know, the styles in it that we set, so that we know that that all comes across and doesn't get lost. So we have copy, photos, documentation. What else are we missing, and what can we do in the next couple of weeks to help the process?
Did John give affirmation that yes, we can do an upload button on the website for images? So if we got the whole thing started with like community image donations for the upcoming website, and is that a yes, we can do that, or do you think?
Yeah, I think we can do that. That I'll have to look a little closer at our current forms plugin, but I'm pretty sure we can figure that out.
And we could put a note about like file sizes and stuff like that too, so no one's sending us a 30 meg JPEG file. What am I missing here? That sounds good. Do you think you can hone that copy a little bit, Colleen, to kind of cover what we've talked about, and then encapsulate that and share that with us?
Yep, I'll send it out to you guys, and everyone can kind of chime in on how.
Okay. Sounds good. Is there anything else that we need to cover at this point? Sandy.
So in my experience, the landing page is the biggie for me. So
Right.
if I go to the landing page and there's typos and buttons that don't work and, obvious problems with it. So I think, it kind of sets the stage for the other pages that roll out. Are
Yes,
there
no typos allowed.
specific, things we could define that the landing page has to have or function this way, right away? We're either going to get this page right or we're going to set the mood.
I'll tell you my vision for it. So, hero image, right? Basic website. We'll have a carousel. And I think that's one of the areas that we can utilize photography from. But it can also be an area for news. So like Clean Green coming up, that'll be on a hero image. We can create these images that staff can switch out whenever needed. Weather alert, anything that's huge or coming up. Valley Fair will have a hero image and it'll be a carousel. And then maybe there's swim lessons, something that's big that the community needs to see. And we'll have a link to whatever article or wherever that's stored. Second thing that I really want to do is enable a sticky banner at the top that can be utilized for high wind warnings or anything like that that people talk about and they want to know. I'm not the weather on the ones guy. I'm not going to be sitting here giving weather updates all day. That's just not me. I got other things to do. But we have the ability to have the site work that way, and simple turn on and turn off items on there. So secondary from that, we'll have the hero, then we'll have a welcome to Sudden Valley message. That's sets the tone of what we sound like, what this community is about. Below that, the carousel for news items, 3 simple what do they call them? Cards that'll have a date, the title, and read more. Easy, 3 of them, and it could be a carousel, so you can flop through. On mobile, it'll be just one with maybe like, you can see that there's a couple others coming up, and you can swipe through it, and those will be your news items. Below that, I'm unsure, maybe something graphical or something that relates to that can use copy. And then I also want to have the same type of carousel for events, dance blast, Valley Fair, Matlock watching party, I don't know. So we would have those, and I think events and news need to work separately based off of just how that is. News needs to be the important things that people need to see that's happening right now. Events, things that you can plan for. And then we need to sign up for our email blast. And I do want to make sure that security's number is easy to find. Colleen?
Yeah, thank you for the security thing. It's really big. But so I've been trying to talk to Alex about events happening. I get a lot of, I've been taking like classes in the barn, and the instructors, many of them are kind of like, well, we don't really have a way to like tell the community other than our private methods, like what's happening or who's renting, or, because there's a variety of classes available. And I sent Alex, and I think I might have CC'd you, but kind of like a triangle board announcing like a physical announcement when you walk into the gym for the people who frequent there, but like people don't really know. So on that landing page, can there be like a rec, like what's happening, like swim lessons available? Like, can we have something that's not news, but that's like rec events?
Yeah,
like
of course. I mean, that can
classes this
be,
week.
yeah, that'll be in the event section. And again, like this, I mean, I was actually going to use for one of the design examples, like a swimming lesson thing, because I know the pools are getting ready and all that kind of stuff. So, we can have on the hero, if it's, sign up, that's always great. It can say, I don't know, dive in the swim season, sign up for lessons now, and then that can go to the page where they can fill out the application or download the application or so on and so forth. So, I mean, I don't know how to explain this. It's kind of weird how I'm thinking it, but it's basically like anything that's entered like that, like would be entered like a news item or an events item. It all kind of works the same. So they all have their individual pages, just how it is now. You know, you click on one of the news items and it goes to the individual page. But these will be able to attach items that, you know, forms and documents, and just be more user friendly.
What's the timeline in getting bids? Just because things seem to move really, really slow. Is that like rolling? Like, are we in the process?
No, we need to get to a point where we have the content that we want, and you know, it's a process. But I mean, we're gonna change our ideas up during that process. You know, I'm going to work hard and to get these things done, so that we can visualize this in the next couple of weeks. And I think that might give everyone a better idea of where we stand with this and what we'll need. But like, I want to get some of these pieces and parts set now so that we're not, you know, looking for them later. I can get you a list of the parks. I saw your chat in there. Because that's stuff that we're going to need. You know, we're going to have in the navigation, you know, there will be a link for parks and trails and stuff like that. And, you know, we want to be able to have a page that has Huckleberry Park or whatever, and they're all there. And you click on one and it, you know, shows a couple pictures of it and says where it's at and how to park there and stuff like that. So, you know, just things like that. But we're going to need that content to fill it out, you know?
Can we do it like, I know this sounds terrible. It's just like, I think for everyone having busy lives and this being voluntary, et cetera, can we give like a time frame where we have like, okay, by June 1st, can we aim to have at least like the rough content pages put together?
Yeah, for sure. I think now, I mean, now if Anne and Liz could give like a couple of copy ideas, for, I don't know, whichever page you choose, and then we can, you know, add that into one of the examples, and then photos would be great so that we can show that on one of the examples. What I would like to do, and this is typically what we do at work, is we'll create templated pages so that like, hey, here's how this page functions and this is what this looks like. Now this needs to roll out to these other sections. And that's how I want to do this. So basically what I want to do is be able to create the main pages that we're going to need that will become essentially copies, you know? So that's like a news item page, an events page, or the standalone pages that aren't going to be copy pages will need to be done. That's the capital projects page and all that good stuff. So, and then, you know, we can, if we want, help fill out the site because they'll give us development, will give us, you know, the stuff built on a grid server or whatever. So it's like we can work on it while it's not live. And then we can start filling that out and making changes and doing what we need to do. And that'll all be in discussion with whoever the developer is that we pick. Like, hey, here's how we want this product. We don't want this going live unless, you know, it's QA'd and everyone's looking at it. And Colleen doesn't see any typos or anything. So, Tring.
So you, am I mute? Okay, sorry, lower hand. You mentioned earlier about Instagram and all the other aspect. I wasn't aware that we have an Instagram account. I know the Park and Rec has one.
We don't.
We don't.
That I don't.
So,
I'm not
I know
sure.
we're
John,
talking about the website right now, but is there any other form of or communication that we're offering to our community in the meantime? Because this sounds like this is going to take a while, but in the meantime, we need to be able to have venues or platforms that we can communicate to the community about these upcoming events, about these classes, about the swim lessons, and about all that stuff. So is eBlast the only thing we're going to be using until the website is formatted?
Oh, I
or-
mean, if you have like if you see any information that you think is needed for the community, I mean, you know, I would share it. Typically board meetings, I've seen you post those. I know Ann posts those. Any kind of stuff that we get. I mean, but that, again, that has to be shared with us too. So I saw swim lessons because Alex was asking about some stuff. So we can help facilitate some of that, but staff job is to put some of that stuff out and then we can share it. You know, and the same thing, like I really hate approaching people like this, but if you see that things can be shared better or the language, you know, the tone of it can be done better, bring it up to me and or Sandy, and then we can work on that. Or if you have ideas, you know, that's what we're here for. So we're to support the stuff that staff's doing and getting that word out. And nothing's stopping us at this point from doing that.
So will Alex be the one, or at least the website from Park and Rec will be the one where events, because you know it's like literally 2 or 3 more months before the Valley Fair comes again, and you
Yeah.
know it takes a lot to get vendors and all this stuff, and just to let the community know what's going on. And a lot of the at least the words or the communication things like, oh, we didn't know this was happening until like a week before. And so more head notice would be good. I know we do summer flea markets and stuff like that or in the past, but communicating that with, you know, so then we could just plan for it. I mean, we're in almost in May, and then before you know it, it's, you know, summer and all this stuff that's happening. Are we thinking about possibly doing Instagram connected to our Facebook, or is it just going to be the Facebook the staff is going to use?
No, I mean, I think we can actually run the Instagram. We need to create guidelines for that too.
Mhm.
You know, what's posted and what, I mean, to me, like I would keep it all pictures. Maybe if there's an event, but I wouldn't saturate it with that kind of stuff. I would keep it the pictures that people, you know, people love seeing that stuff and sharing
Yeah.
it, and the deer photos and stuff like that. And that could be a good way to get things out there. And then, you know, we can all take part in that and create a bank of photos and stuff. And I've got plenty of raccoon photos if anyone wants raccoon photos. But
No, because what I'm trying to say is that because I do, like I said, I do the middle school coaching Facebook and Instagram, and I tie it together so it doesn't create as much work for me when I do an announcement or a posting, that it just comes together as one. So then I have 2 platforms that you know, the information is getting out to as far as the members. So
yeah,
I
I
know
mean, we can
Alex
make
was
that happen.
posting that on the Park and Rec, but I've never seen one for just Sun Valley. And then I don't know if we even want to dive into Twitter, but you know, no, Colleen says
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't see a lot of people using that
I don't
for
use Twitter.
community
So
purposes. And who
So
knows what's going to happen with it now.
can
But
Trang like yeah, exactly. Can Trang like so if we can do the IG page, you said we like this committee, like, or like does it have to be staff, or could Trang work with the staff member? The thing is like getting things done, like getting it done ahead of time. She sounds very motivated to like help make that happen. She does this for her profession. Like how can we streamline like what's allowed, what's not allowed? Like in the next week, can we make a document that everyone agrees upon? Here are the guidelines, what's posted, what's not posted. And here's how we can move forward with getting information to a different platform more efficiently while we're waiting for the website.
yeah, I'm sure we can do that. But I mean, like we're talking about different types of information now, though. You know, like what is it that people are going to want from Instagram? I don't think that they're going to want a weather report, which is something that people are
No.
really complaining about. But I think we can get this situated, and I know John can plug that into Facebook, and we're not going to want every photo that's posted on Instagram going through
No.
Facebook, but like, okay, here's an example that I would do. Like, let's say golf was having an outing, like put a really nice picture of golf. No advertising people or any of that kind of stuff. Put super nice picture of the course and say, hey, there's a tournament coming up this weekend. Visit Sun Valley Golf to learn more, or something. Hashtag Sun Valley Golf, hashtag the heck out of it. And then we can do that for other stuff too. So I think people are going to love seeing the animals and everything. And of course, we're getting off into some other area versus the website, but I think this is great. And I think we just need to come to a consensus to make sure that we're all on the same page with it. And that's the same thing with the photos. Like, I'm not trying to like be sheriff in town, but I want to make sure that we're all part of it, so that if something does come up, it's like, hey, I didn't know that was going to be like that. And plus, it's just good to be able to have a team that's thinking about this. But so 2 weeks, if that's okay with you guys. Sandy?
That's just what I was going to say. In 2 weeks, if we can get the first draft of everything out and talk, that means that at our next standing meeting that's being recorded, we could have all of, our first drafts. I know the documentation committee exists. I don't quite know where they are on things like policies of where you load this information or that information, but we should at least give them a heads up that they're going to have some policies and standards to feed into us, or we ask about.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good idea. I mean, when you first started saying that, I was like, oh boy, this is getting complicated. But I mean, it's good to have those policies written and documented, and that'll be another page on the site as our policy page. But what I would like to do is, once we're at a good spot, I'm not sure how the bid process is going to work, but I want to be able to present this all to the board. And then I think that would be John that would do that if he felt comfortable. John, we can talk about this stuff another time, but I just want to make sure we're doing it all on the up and up, and everyone's included every step of the way. And I think it would be good, but I think we should probably start wrapping it up here, because we do have property owner comments, if there are any property owner comments, and John has another meeting to go to. But 2 weeks, if you guys can check your schedules, we are going to have an awesome meeting, I promise.
May 8th should be open, from what I
Okay.
can tell.
Is that on Wednesday? Have we decided we're going to change it to a different day or not?
If you guys are okay with it, I'd like to just kind of keep it open and just give
Okay.
everyone enough of a heads up, because stuff moves around, and I don't want to like force something if we have to meet, but if we have something that is urgent, I think we can get together too. So yeah. Shall we move on to owner comments and wrap this up?
Yeah, just one person with us tonight. They'd like to if they have any property owners comments they'd like to jump in for, just use raise hand and I'll bring you over.
It's a negative, ghostwriter.
All righty.
Okay, Colleen, I'm gonna get you a list of some stuff, and if anyone else needs anything, just let me know. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions?
I'm just going to send out a list to this group of our next steps that we've talked about.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but at least it's out there so we can agree or disagree on it.
I love all your documentation, Sandy. It's so awesome. It makes me happy.
Oh, thanks.
So yeah, thank you all very much. Colleen, we're gonna get some stuff done. I know it's like we haven't met in a while. I'm sorry, I've been like stretched crazy thin, but I'm working on this site, and I want it to be, it's my one goal to really, really do awesome with during my tenure on the board. And I'm glad you guys are all into taking part into it. It means a lot, and hopefully we can have something really good for the community once it's all said and done.
Hey, Josh,
Yeah.
quick question. Do we have someone in staff that we should be including with this conversation, since they're going to be the one inputting it and uploading it and all that stuff, what their feedback would be?
I think we need to kind of like get to where we need to be first, and then we can talk to John about that and
Oh,
see
so John is going to be the
what-
one.
I'm not
Prob-
sure.
Probably
but
starts with me.
yeah,
Okay.
John is our liaison, so he is the one taking care of us. But we'll see where that goes. But for now, let's just see like what kind of content, if you want to put together a list, or you and Colleen, whoever wants to do it, of what that looks like and what it entails, and then we can go from there. Does that sound good?
Yep.
Cool. Well, let's count for, I guess, May 8th, if that was the date, and if that all works for everyone, and then we can go from there. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it since everyone's shy. All
Adios.
those in favor?
Oh,
Bye, everybody.
Good night. Good luck with your next meeting, John. Thank